New Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos had an interesting way of attempting to praise historically black colleges and universities after a meeting at the White House earlier today. Here's a little section of her comments. She put out a statement about this saying, "Rather than focus solely on funding, we must be willing to make the tangible structural reforms that will allow students to reach their full potential." Let's pause for 1 second. Already saying funding these schools, okay, that's something, I guess, but let's not focus too much on giving them any additional funds. But that's not the most consequential part. She then pivots to historically black colleges and universities, saying that they have done this since their founding. They started from the fact that there were too many students in America who did not have equal access to education. She doesn't look into why they didn't have that access. The access just wasn't there. They saw that the system wasn't working, that there was an absence of opportunity, so they took it upon themselves to provide the solution. HBCUs are real pioneers when it comes to school choice. They're living proof that when more options are provided to students, they're afforded greater access and greater quality. Their success has shown that more options help students flourish. Well, yes, I guess it is more options to have an option to go to a school because, of course, after the Civil War with Jim Crow and the Black Codes and all of that, in many places they were not allowed to go to any other universities. That's why these universities started. And so to take that history, to strip all of the racial connotations, to take all of the onus off of those who banned African Americans from going to these schools, to then use that to push your framing of school choice being amazing, that seems unnecessary and perhaps unwise, and she was roasted for it.
Yeah, she was roasted for it, rightfully so. But I do want to point out that it is interesting that even in a situation where, representatives and presidents from black universities and colleges are coming to the White House to meet Trump. Even in that situation, she tries to find a way to sneak in the school choice, which again is very thinly veiled language for I want to privatize everything, right? Yeah. Now, when it comes to privatizing public schools, that's very different from the conversation that we're having regarding historically black colleges and universities. As John mentioned, those are colleges and universities that were established because black students didn't have a choice. Because of segregation, they had no option. And luckily, there were institutions of higher learning where they could go to, but they've been historically underfunded and undervalued by our politicians. And that is, an ongoing problem. It's happened in Maryland, it happened in Mississippi. And so that's something that we should keep in mind.
Well, and that's why the prelude to those statements about the HBCUs, the fact that she said, oh, well, funding isn't the biggest deal in the world. I mean, but that has been a problem for those universities for decades and decades and decades. And I don't know if she knows that. I don't know if she's sort of covering up that history to aid her in pursuing the education policies she wants, or if, and much more likely, she knows that they're historically black, but probably doesn't really know what that represents or what that means. And I know from my time as a TA and doing a little bit of work as a professor, and you might have seen this as well, is that when these sorts of issues come up, for most people, and I don't want to stereotype, they know so little about what these represent. And often, if HBCUs come up in conversation, the only context it comes up in is, well, they get to have schools where only black people can go, so why can't we have schools where only white people can go? When, of course, at HBCUs, white people have always been able to go to those schools.
Right.
A fact that's easily checked, but often goes over the head of those making that case.
So everyone should pay very close attention to what Betsy DeVos has to say about funding involving higher education, so colleges and universities, because a lot of the focus has been on what she did with public schools in Michigan, and the reality is she has very limited power when it comes to grade schools. The states are really in charge of allocating funds for schools, and so whether or not a state privatizes schools or transforms them into charters, that's really up to state lawmakers, and we should pay close attention to that as well. But what Betsy DeVos has to say about colleges really matters. Now, she has been a proponent of for-profit colleges, which have scammed and defrauded students. She is very much in favor of cutting funding to some of the colleges and universities that are publicly funded. And so we have to pay attention to that and hold her accountable for her actions. Because if we're having issues with student loan debt now, I think that it would just completely explode under someone like Betsy DeVos.
Yeah, as you said, people need to hold her accountable, and people did at the very least on social media, and she was immediately, she noticed it. She's noticed it and put out a response saying providing an alternative option to students denied the right to attend a quality school is the legacy of HBCUs. And so there she says denied the right to attend a quality school. That's good. She also says, but your history was born not out of mere choice, but out of necessity in the face of racism and in the aftermath of the Civil War. So there she is, doing a better job than most in the Trump administration have done in responding to criticism in a substantive way. So instead of, people saying, hey, Trump, you're not acknowledging the massive rise in anti-Semitic threats, especially bombing threats, and he comes out today and says, well, it's probably the reverse. It's probably them libs who are doing it. That's not a good response. This was a better response. It doesn't matter 1/100th as much as what she does in terms of policy, but it is something. But I did want to say a little bit more about the meeting because, of course, as Anna mentioned, this statement after a meeting where a number of the presidents of these colleges and universities met up with Trump. And I know some people are attacking them, saying they shouldn't have met with him, but they need to protect their schools and possibly have influence where they can. And so I'm very sympathetic to them in wanting to do that. But some of them left that meeting not having had a good experience. And so first we have quotes from Walter Kimbrough, president of Dillard University in New Orleans, who says, I'm still processing that entire experience, talking about the meeting, but needless to say that threw the day off and there was very little listening to HBCU presidents today. We were only given about 2 minutes each, and that was cut to 1 minute, so only about 7 or maybe 15 or so speakers were given an opportunity today. He goes on to say, this is from the comments he was going to make had he had more than 60 seconds. He was going to say, we've seen federal and state divestment in education, making the idea of education as the path to the American dream more of a hallucination for the poor and disenfranchised. In the past decade, the wealth gap between whites and blacks has gone from 7 to 13-fold. Black students graduate with 31% more college debt than their white peers. And so those are important contextual things that you need to know if you're going to attempt to, as Betsy DeVos says, make HBCUs a bigger part of your education policy. Is she aware of those? Is she ready to make the sorts of changes that would fix those problems? We don't know. She didn't tweet about it, unfortunately.
Corporate media is awesome.
Wrong.
Independent media is the way to go.
Believe me. Believe me.
Support independent media right now. Become a Young Turks member. TYTnetwork.com/join.